want to start this morning with why you did not see me last week and you got a replay message and it wasn't a new one. See, last Sunday, I didn't miss because I was unprepared. I missed because I made a decision. And I want to talk to you about that decision this morning. Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Tarnisha Mosash, your host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am your certified vision strategist coach who comes every single Sunday so we can talk about all the ways in which you can better your best. And last Sunday, I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision to stop performing strength when my body, my mind, and my spirit was asking for care. And if I'm being honest, what that feels like is it wasn't like burnout and it wasn't laziness. It was just this realization that continuing at the same pace is going to cost me more than it's giving me. And I want to express that to you today. If you're a person who, knows what that feels like when your body and your mind, your spirit just like, listen, I need a moment. I need a day. I want you to know that it's not because you're lazy, and it may not even be because you're burnt out. It may be just this realization that continuing at the same pace is going to cost you more than it's giving you. And that's what this message is about today, because a lot of times we think it's motivation and pushing yourself and grinding, but choosing yourself is the ultimate thing you can do for yourself. But it's like choosing yourself before the cost becomes irreversible. And what cost am I talking about? I am talking about the cost of burnout. I'm talking about the stuff, the cost of when you're grinding so much, you grind yourself into a ground, and I just want to tell you some other things because it's the end of the year and so much has happened. Oh my God. And I just, for the past 3 years, I really have been suffering quietly. I was still working, still leading, still showing up at my corporate job, still showing up here every single Sunday, still showing up for the people in my life. In particular, last year, on the 29th of December, my cousin at 36 years old passed away. And that same day I found out, I, jumped on the plane and went to my aunt, and stayed there and helped my aunt do the funeral. Did not leave until it was all said and done. And I was showing up and I was caring, I was intentional, and I was in my purpose because I believe that's who God designed me, to be, not just a vision strategist coach, but he gave me the capacity to be able to handle big things. But my body was started this year speaking in ways I couldn't keep ignoring. So for the last 3 years, it would just been signals and signs, because of perimenopause. But this year in particular, because after coming back from the funeral, so just imagine she passed on December 29th. I don't think I came home until January 12th or 13th. And then I went straight back into the office 5 days a week after working from home for 18 years. And to some people, that may not be a big thing, but that was a traumatic change in my life. I have grief that I really couldn't really grieve while I was there because I was doing what I'm charged to do, which is, show up and remain stoic and get stuff done. That's just who I am. I'm the girl. We're going to make sure this funeral is beautiful. I'm going to make sure my aunt's taken care of. I'm going to make sure she has her teas. I'm going to make sure she has her hugs. And not even just that, my cousin left 2 daughters that are 4 and 12. So yeah, I'm like, you get into that mode, and then I come back home and my whole life is turned upside down. I now have to drive an hour 20, 30 minutes into an office. I hadn't been in an office in 18 years, and it was just this year took the biggest toll on me, and so I just didn't have a chance to really pause. I didn't really have a space to grieve and no room to really process everything. Life does what it does, which is it keeps moving. And I had to move with it mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, physically, and then still wanting to show up for my aunt, because it is the first year, wanting to show up and still trying to show up in my job, as I have always been a top level manager, always top level. Like I've never ever had an issue in my 28 years in my career. So I'm trying to show up there. And then I have my business, my coaching business, growing that. And so everything stretched me. And here's the part that most high achieving women don't talk about. You can survive hard seasons for a long time before you realize the cost is compounding. And so I realized the cost is compounding because now my hormones are at a disarray. Like if I wasn't wiring off before, I went through the seasonal depression. I've talked to you guys about that, but this time it was different. It's seasonal depression on top of this crazy anxiety. And it was like my body just got to a point, was like, listen, I can't do this with you anymore. I can't do it. And when my body said I can't do this with you anymore, I had to decide whether to push or try to push myself out of the bed last week to come and give the message, what the Lord always gives me to say, or I could take care of me. And I've made this decision, and I pray that whoever listens to this make the same decision. I really am choosing me first this time around. I really hope you hear that, because a lot of times we think we're still choosing ourselves, and then you realize you're not. You're still choosing how my kids are even growing, choosing how they're going to feel, choosing how if to decide whether, hey, listen, I need to grieve whether or not take a leave of absence from work or not. You're worried about how the coworkers are going to feel or what's going to happen to your business. You everything else but really worrying about you. And at some point, I had to stop asking, how do I keep going? And I had to start asking myself, what is this really costing me? So it led me to a decision that I didn't take lightly. I have been researching this for well over 3 years, because for some of you who've been around for a while, I had a breast biopsy about 2 years ago. I've had three. And so, this going through perimenopause, when they were talking about, hormone replacement therapy and all that stuff, I was really against it, because doing the research, I was worried about, breast cancer, and because I'm a high risk. And so I've been doing some research. And then finally, I just chose to take my life back. I chose to take my life back because I was going to sleep, crying myself to sleep, having nobody to really, who can you, like, it's like, who can really understand that if you haven't gone through it? And as much as you can pick up the phone and call and talk to everybody else, I'm the coach. Put me in, coach. And this is exactly why. Why am I telling you this? Because the strong one, you need your therapist. You need another coach. You need a community in your life, because you need people that you could be able to turn to. And so what happened was, I'm just going to tell you really briefly, Christmas Eve, I went to my friend's house and I saw another woman who she was talking about all the things she was going through, but all of a sudden she was talking about how she was feeling better. And so I asked her what she did, and she told me she reached out to this company called MIDI Health. And I want to give a disclaimer. I am not promoting MIDI Health. I am not telling you to go out and do anything. I'm just telling you my story. This is just my story, and for informational purposes only, on how I chose to take my life back, with the hope that you make a decision to take yours back. And so I decided to get on HRT. And it's not because I wanted a quick fix, not because I was done. It was just really because I was done normalizing suffering. We do that to ourselves. We normalize suffering and putting ourselves in these situations, and we got to battle through and we got to push through. No, we don't anymore. I'm 50 years old. I don't have to battle and push through. I am not broken. I don't need somebody to fix me. I am not. I am not. I'm looking for somebody with a cape on that's going to save me. I understand that I'm a human being that was experiencing some very, very traumatic emotions, and that wasn't my personality. It's just what I was going through. And I'm sharing this with you because so many women think powering through is virtue. It is not. It's avoidance dressed up as discipline. Choosing support is not weakness, is not failure, is not selfish. Choosing you is not selfish. Waking up in the morning and saying, what do I need, is not selfish. Saying to yourself, even in relationship, how do I want to feel this morning? It's not always about everything and everybody else. And we do it. But I'm telling you, when you decide to take your life back and you choose support, and you choose to take if it's hormone replacement therapy, if it's a GLP-1, if it's peptides, whatever it is that you feel that you need to do for you in this stage of life, going through perimenopause and menopause, guess what that's called? It's leadership. It's making a decision and sticking with it. It's understanding that old ways won't open new doors, and not all holistic treatments work for everybody, and that's okay. It really is. And so this is the final week of the year, and I don't want you like setting goals yet, because we get so caught on setting goals. Number one, I'm going to be honest with you. I always start to look at what I'm going to do for the previous year. Like October is like my fiscal year. But right now, I just feel like the world is so extremely heavy. Everybody is so extremely sad. So many people I talked to was like, Christmas wasn't Christmasing. And it wasn't about money. It was just that nobody was feeling it. And the reason why I think that is because everybody's trying to force things, right? And I don't want you planning. I don't want you forcing momentum momentum yet. I want you to take care of yourself because the best version of you walking into 2026 matters more than anything that you accomplished in 2025. We're so busy, like, and let me tell you something, celebrate yourself. Absolutely. How you could take care of yourself this week really is start to celebrate, sure. But I want you to take care of yourselves. And here's three questions I really want you to ask yourself. What has this year taken from me that I haven't acknowledged? Because sometimes we're so busy doing and going, the little engine that could, I can, I will, I must. We didn't realize that there's some things that have been our joy, our peace, our yes to ourselves. So I want you to say, what has this year taken from me that I hadn't acknowledged? I hadn't acknowledged that the grief that I was feeling was really, really huge. I really hadn't acknowledged just how much going into that office every day, sometimes crying in the car going, sometimes nodding on the way home, what it was just robbing me of so many things. And I really didn't have time to acknowledge it because I didn't sit with it long enough. And so that's the first question. Second question is where have I been strong at the expense of my health? That's a great question. It's not just women, it's men too. Because the provider and the protector, which is a beautiful thing, and we need you. We need you so much. But we also need you healthy. And we also need you taking care of yourself. Same thing for my women. We need you to be in your purpose. But if your mind and your money isn't right, and your health, and so what I mean by mind, everything starts in the mind, right? So we talk about physical health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional health. Where have you been strong at the expense of your health? Lastly, what support have I been postponing because I thought I could handle alone? You cannot do this alone. That's why you're crying. That's why the anxiety is so huge. That's why it's depression. You can't do it alone. Let me just give you a real one. Here I am for the past 3 years trying to figure out what to do. I had a therapist and the daggone coach. And I couldn't imagine what my life would look like if I didn't have it. And this is not about stopping your life. It's about stabilizing it. It's about working through your nervous system and helping to heal it, not just with a quick fix or a band-aid. It's giving yourself the tools, not just the awareness, because some of us are so aware, but the tools to help regulate yourself. And then what to do when you get so overwhelmed that you can't even regulate to bring yourself back down. What is it that I need? How can I help soothe myself in those moments? Because there's not going to always be an outside person or thing that can help you. That's so important. And so when you start choosing yourself, let me tell you what actually changes. When you choose yourself, something really shifts. Your boundaries becomes more clear. You realize, and here's the thing that's going to happen to you. You're going to realize when you betrayed yourself. I don't want you to sit in it, because there are a lot of times that we betray ourselves and we allow people to cross our boundaries, and you have to say aloud, you have to own this. You can't give it to no one else, and it feels hard or bad or sad, but you can't sit in it. But when you choose yourself, it's going to get better. It's going to get clear. Your energy becomes more intentional. And I'm not saying things get magically easy, but you start to get in alignment. And the alignment is what reduces the suffering, because the suffering is the story and the thought that you're playing over and over and over again. But once you start to choose you and get into alignment, the story starts to dissipate. You realize you don't even need the story anymore. And you also realize the story is what's causing the anxiety. The story is what's causing the depression. When you learn to be able to see the story, understand that the thoughts are going to come in your mind, but you don't have to own it, nor do you have to go down the river of your thoughts. And when you choose yourself, you stop bragging on the old pain into new seasons. Like, we learn to let the story go. The story of the old, trauma and the drama, you learn to let it go. And that's how 2026 can be your best year. And here's the thing, even if it doesn't be your best year, it can be better, not perfect, because sometimes we're striving for that. I know we always say, this is our best year yet. Go, listen, nails done, hair done, I understand that. And I thought 2025 was going to be my best year yet. My cousin died. And then I grieving. So guess what? Even if 2026 is going to be the best, it's going to be better. I'm claiming that and I'm going to work into it. And how? Because I'm going to start to take care of me and make sure that I'm choosing me first. And because I don't come here as a coach pretending that I have it all together. I have a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding through Christ. I have it through my life experiences, but I don't ever have it all together. I'm here as a woman who's showing up honestly, is going to stay honest. Even through my grief, I showed up. Even through the pressure, I showed up. Even through exhaustion every single Sunday, I showed up. Just in my honesty, just in my transparency, just in my vulnerability. And I want you to know this. You can go through hard seasons and still be in your purpose and still be on purpose. That's why I show up. So you can understand that. The goal is never to avoid your emotions. The goal is never to avoid your feelings. The goal is never this fake, false positivity. The goal is never to not to avoid the difficulties of life. That's going to happen. The goal is to feel it and understand that you can heal it, you can get through it, working through your nervous system, getting into alignment, choosing you with the understanding of if they don't like it and they don't like you, they wasn't going to like you anyway. They wasn't going to choose you anyway. You got to choose you and you got to stop abandoning yourself while moving through it. Because that's what we do. Your body says rest. You say, no, I got to power through. Your mind says, I can't take another personal or self-development. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of always feeling like I have to fix me and do this. And you say, no, I got to take another class. No, I got to need another book. And that's why you're exhausted. You're exhausted. You're exhausted. You're exhausted. You're exhausted. You're exhausted. And it's okay to say I'm exhausted. And now I'm going to choose because you got to know it's a choice. I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to choose me. And even if it's the smallest thing, like listening to music or turning on something and dancing or giving yourself that hug you so desperately want from everyone else or whatever, or going outside or whatever that is, choose that thing. Choose it. Choose you. Stop abandoning yourself. You can make this last week the best year of 2025 for you. And I can't even believe this is my last Self Love Sunday of 2025. And I really want to thank you guys for walking with me this year, for listening, for growing, for staying, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Because, I'm just a Jersey girl who comes every single Sunday because I want us all to grow. I want everybody to experience peace, love, joy, and abundance of it. And so when God gives me the word, I'm going to come and I'm going to speak to you because I want you to have it all. That's why I tell you about my highs, my lows, my ins, my outs, my ups, my downs, okay? Because I'm telling you, all 2026, we are going to set a new standard mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Not a louder one, a healthier one, a more grounded one. Listen, the standard begins inside of you. You have to set a new standard for yourself. It's not that you can't do or have what you want, it's that your standards are low. And so we get to set new standards in our physical health, in our mental health, in our emotional health, in our spiritual health, in our financial health. When you set that new standard, it's going to change everything. And for those of you who are really ready to shift intentionally, I'm going to tell you that's exactly why I created my retreat, Designed to Win the Retreat. And it's happening April 30 to May 2nd, 2026. And I'm telling you right now, it's literally about getting into alignment. The problem is that most of us are trying to reap a harvest, but we're planting a seed in non-fertile soil. If the soil is not fertile, if the soil isn't tilled, if the soil isn't ready to even receive the seed, you can throw as much seed in the ground as you want. It is not going to produce. You can try to water it with the superficial things all you want. But if you don't get into that soil, if you don't regulate that nervous system, if you don't choose you, you are not going to reap a harvest. And so you're going to spend your time over and over again in the anxiety, in the depression, in the fear. You're going to spend your time there. But that's exactly why I'm doing this, to build so you can build a life where success doesn't cost you your well being. And so, if you're ready to invest in yourself on this next level and really step into this opportunity, because it is such an amazing opportunity to come in for like focused, intentionally on you, putting you first, going through what it is that you desire for you, and getting around a community of like minded women, because there's only going to be 15 women in that room. Why? Because I want it to be that intentional. I want it to be where we can be one on one. Listen, we're going to follow the yellow brick road into Oz. And who's Oz? That version of you that's been waiting on you to show up and to choose you and to say, it is my turn. I can be an author. I can write this book. I can go after and build my business. I can get that promotion on my job. I can be the best wife or the best lover or the best mother I choose to be, but I'm going to do that because I'm going to choose me first. I can have the love that I so desperately give to everyone else because I'm going to choose to give it to me, not from a surface level, but I'm going to really dig deep into my nervous system and get it to a place where it's going to be able to breathe, to breathe. And if you are ready, schedule a call with me. I'm going to leave the link underneath this video. And if you're not there yet, guess what? Start here. Start with this week, asking yourself those three questions that I asked you earlier. Rest, reflect, and reset this week. It's okay. Everybody is not ready to go. This is something that I realized, right? And in having my coaching business, everybody doesn't want help. I need you to hear that too. Some people don't want help. Some people desire to be exactly where they are, doing exactly what they're doing. And you have to be okay with them doing that. You have to be okay. If you keep showing up and they keep pushing you away and you keep showing up, guess what's going to happen to you? You're betraying yourself. Let them be. And how about you choose you? How about you just make that decision? Let this last week of 2025 be the week where you just choose you all week long. Everybody's going to be okay, but you're not going to be okay. And I pray that you hear this message, because I wish all I can do is wish. Today's December 20 to 28th. Tomorrow's the 29th. It's the anniversary of my cousin's death. Do you know the one thing that I wish? I wish I had picked up the phone and told her over and over again the things that I'm telling you. Because when I read how stressed out she was, how worried she was at 36, a heart attack, at 36, over the worldly things, I wish I had been able to tell her what I'm telling you. And what I'm telling you is that these lower things that's on the ground don't matter. I know you feel it and I know that you think it. But I'm telling you, I told you guys when I jumped out that plane and God allowed me to see from an eagle's view, these things on the ground, these small things that we fuss over and we fight over and we claw over. I promise you, if it won't mean anything 5 years from now, don't let it mean anything for you today. If it won't mean anything 5 years from now, don't let it take up your joy. If it won't mean anything 5 years from now, don't sit in it. If it won't mean anything 5 years from now, let it go, so you can grow and step into that next level of you. And walking into 2026, we can walk in there feeling clear, stronger, and fully committed to who we are becoming. Who are you becoming in 2026? What new standard do you want to set for yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically within your body? I want you to ask yourself that. And again, if you're looking for a coach and you're looking for a community, look no further. I am taking new bookings into 2026. I'm so excited to walk on that journey with you. I'm so excited to be able to offer that opportunity for you to come in and step in and really make it either the best year yet, or if not, a better year. I'm telling you though, when you step into this arena, it can be your best year. The best years of my life is when I stepped up and into that one-on-one coaching arena. It really took my life on a whole other trajectory, and I hope to do that with you. I hope you have the most amazing week, and I want to just say happy new year. Please be safe, please love on yourself, please take care of your families, and I will see you in 2026. I love you guys. Thank you for the best 2025.